Where you went out the back door of that house, there was a stone water trough in the weeds by the side of the house. A galvanized pipe come off the roof, and the trough stayed pretty much full. And I remember stopping there one time and squatting down and looking at it, and I got to thinking about it. I don't know how long it had been there, 100 years, 200. You could see the chisel marks in the stone. It was hewed out of solid rock, and it was about 6 foot long and maybe 1.5 feet wide and about that deep. Just chiseled out of the rock. And I got to thinking about the man that done that. That country had not had a time of peace, much of any length at all that I knew of. I've read a little of the history of it since, and I ain't sure it ever had one. But this man had sat down with a hammer and chisel and carved out a stone water trough to last 10,000 years. Why was that? What was it that he had faith in? It wasn't that nothing would change, which is what you might think, I suppose. He had to know better than that. I've thought about it a good deal. I thought about it after I left there, with that house blown to pieces. I'm going to say that water trough is there yet. It would have took something to move it, I can tell you that. So I think about him sitting there with his hammer and his chisel, maybe just an hour or two after supper, I don't know. And I have to say that the only thing I can think is that there was some sort of promise in his heart. And I don't have no intentions of carving a stone water trough, but I would like to be able to make that kind of promise. I think that's what I would like most of all. The other thing is that I have not said much about my father, and I know I have not done him justice. I've been older now than he ever was for almost 20 years, so, in a sense, I'm looking back at a younger man. He went on the road trading horses when he was not much more'n a boy. He told me the first time or two he got skinned pretty good, but he learned. He said this trader one time, he put his arm around him, and he looked down at him, and he told him, said, "Son, I'm going to trade with you like you didn't even have a horse." Point being, some people will actually tell you what it is they aim to do to you, and whenever they do, you might want to listen. That stuck with me. He knew about horses, and he was good with 'em. I've seen him break a few, and he knew what he was doing. Very easy on the horse. Talked to him a lot. He never broke nothing in me, and I owe him more than I would have thought. As the world might look at it, I suppose I was a better man, bad as that sounds to say, bad as that is to say. That has got to have been hard to live with, let alone his daddy. He would never have made a lawman. He went to college, I think, 2 years, but he never did finish. I've thought about him a lot less than I should have, and I know that ain't right neither. I had 2 dreams about him after he died. I don't remember the first one all that well, but it was about meeting him in town somewheres, and he give me some money, and I think I lost it. But the second one, it was like we was both back in older times, and I was on horseback, going through the mountains of a night. Going through this pass in the mountains. It was cold, and there was snow on the ground, and he rode past me and kept on going, never said nothing. He just rode on past, and he had this blanket wrapped around him, and he had his head down, and when he rode past, I seen he was carrying fire in a horn, the way people used to do, and I could see the horn from the light inside of it, about the color of the moon. And in the dream, I knew that he was going on ahead, and that he was fixing to make a fire somewhere out there in all that dark and all that cold. And I knew that whenever I got there, he would be there. And then I woke up.